we're going to analyze here the phygital, this intertwining of both the digital and this analog world that we pretty much hang on to. So first of all, I'd like to hand the floor to Claudio Calveri. He's basically he supported Faro in the recent candidacy for Faro Capital Culture. And Claudio, please.
Okay. Good evening, and thank you. I'm very happy to be here and to have the chance to share something not just in Italy but also abroad. I've had the chance to know Faro in these 3 very long years for everyone, and I hope that it could be quite useful to start a discussion about some themes that are very mainstream and very connected to common places. I hate common places, personally. So phygital is on all newspapers with no reason, very often. And but I just like to start just by telling what's my job. It's not so easy to explain. My dad died without understanding what I do. when they asked him, he just went with, oh, he's a publisher, never been published. So, as you can see, I'm not a native digital, as I love to repeat. I'm very young, but not a native digital. But I spent last 9 years in a very long career as a consultant for cultural and creative sector in a startup making digital strategy. But I didn't do the funny part of digital. I was engaged in something that was not so funny, like big pharma, and I curated for Italian Ministry of Healthcare the campaign about vaccination. You can imagine it was so funny. I work with banks. I work with all sensible and sensitive issues of difficult industries. So I'm obliged to look at all digital phenomena beyond the titles of newspaper, magazines, and the media need to make every day happen something that is memorable. And I have to confront with bias, cyber psychology, and a lot of very boring things that makes very funny results when you are able to apply something. So it's just to going into the issue of phygital that I'd like to start from questions, because I think that questions are the most relevant part of a debate, not just the answer but the right questions. And I'd like to ask you to interact with me, okay? I will ask for your help about some things, okay? Let's start. Who are we talking to or with? Phygital. Digital and physical. It's a portmanteau. It's a French word that means a new word, a neologism created by the fusion by 2 existing words, okay? And it's nothing new. Just consider that with a QR code, you make something phygital, okay? I'm in the real world. I just use my smartphone picturing the QR code, and it gives me something, connection to a link or something else. Do you know what phygital, who coined the term phygital? Okay, no one knows. There are Lev Manovich, maybe, or maybe other 2 or 3 researchers. If you look at this kind of information on the web, you can find 5 or 6 different versions. So the main question is, who are talking with and to with phygital? And I'd like to start, I'm sorry, it's a little bit boring, but we have to read something, okay? I grabbed something about Faro. I choose top attractions of Faro. The beach, first one. The city beach of Praia de Faro is one of Europe's best urban beaches. Despite being a short walk from downtown Faro, it feels a world away from its hustle and bustle. With the fine white sand, warm shallow waters and tall palm trees line up to create one of the prettiest beaches you will ever see. It's also very popular with tourists and locals alike, so don't expect to find peace here. But if you want a taste of what Faro was like before tourism took off, then head here for some serenity. Please, just raise your hand if you think that this text is interesting. Okay. Is it innovative? Is it boring? The others? Not. Okay, just move on, please. It will take just other few minutes. Top attractions of Faro, part 2, the historical center. This old quarter was once a walled city. Now it is filled with cobblestone streets, pastel-colored buildings, and historic architecture. The heart of Faro's historical center is Praça de Dom Luís I. I'm sorry if I just missed the pronunciation. A statue of King Louis stands proudly at its center with a fountain at his feet that shoots water up in an arc. The king towers over charming cafes and shops, as well as restaurants serving fresh seafood plucked from local waters. Okay? Interesting?
Yeah. Please don't leave.
Innovative? Boring? Okay, quite boring. And now, the most painful part. Third part, top attractions of Faro. Things to do outdoors. If you plan on visiting Algarve anytime soon, you should know that outdoor activities are one of its main tourism draws. The good news is there's a whole lot to do. Here are some suggestions for taking full advantage of nature and getting out into it. Now, can you see that line? Imagine that the sound is... So that's the surprise. Do you know who wrote this text? An artificial intelligence software. I used an artificial intelligence software, one that it's quite expensive. It's not affordable to anyone, but now I work for a private bank, so I'm lucky and I can, I can buy a lot of very funny toys. The artificial intelligence is not a genius, it's the average user. It took all the main relevant information it found on the web and put it together to make a description of Faro. And you find it boring. So it's, a mashup of everything, every information available about Faro and Algarve. And it's not bidimensional. It's only one dimension. It's like nothing. It doesn't give you the sense of perspective. It doesn't give you the sense of what places are and people make them. So, and it doesn't stop so, because you know this? Okay, this is Algarve. I used another software of artificial intelligence. This one is available to anyone at the address same.energy. The name of the software is Same Energy, and this kind of artificial intelligence is trained to make another things. It's give me one picture or give me one research term. I put them Algarve, and I will find all the photos that are relevant in the same pattern, creating, a sort of storytelling that is conceptual and visual. So you could ask, why is it relevant? An interesting data. I read a research. Some Italian researchers by the University of Torino just hacked Wikipedia. You know Wikipedia, you all know. Do you know how Wikipedia works? Anyone can just implement the contents, but there are some moderators that check if it's made for commercial purpose or or is less accurate or not enough accurate to be shared as common knowledge. And they were able, using some tricks, to add in a description of a very Italian small town, just 2 photos in the profile. Consider that Wikipedia is the main source of information for everyone on the web. So they calculated that they tried to monitor the activities, the incoming activities of this little town, very, very, very small town in Italy, and they found out that in the following year, there were an improvement of about 2,500 euro in a year. That is quite relevant for 2 photos. The photos were took down by moderators after the research was out. But the point is, digital is relevant, and is relevant in a very concrete way. If you go on Google Scholar, that is, you know, the repository of all the articles devoted to many researchers from all over the world, and you put into the browser the word Wikipedia effect, you will say that you will discover how deep is the contribution that digital can give in a very practical way to the positioning of a place. So, who are we talking to and with? In your opinion, how many people are there when you're on social media, okay, and you have you are interacting with someone? How many are the people, the subjects involved in this operation? Let's try. How many? 1, 2, 2, and the platform? Because the platform gives you the way the interaction should develop. They say, okay, but you've got a number of limited characters. You can use some things and not others. If better, if you use videos. If better, if so. There are many rules. 3. Is there anyone else in the conversation? Just think, it's quite a challenging game because it's something that we do on our own in a very simple way. But there's, you know, the browser that led you there. There's the physical device that gives you the chance and the opportunity to interact. And each one of these pieces, each piece of this kind of ecosystem that is hybrid, made of physical and digital pieces, is made by rules with intentions, and it will drive you along a path that is defined for the biggest part. So, who are we talking to and with? With all these stakeholders. Let's call it, okay? To be simple. Let's going on. What's culture for? What's culture for? I love to use references and concepts that are not from the world of culture, because one of the problem, I know it very well, it's a problem of value, perceived value. Culture, oh, the value is unbearable, you cannot define it. No, it's better that we define it, otherwise culture dies. And I found something very interesting. World Economic Forum, not United Nations, not UNESCO, not no profit, has got a wonderful portal I invite you to visit. That is the Strategic Intelligence Forum, that is completely for free, and it got a lot of topics and a lot of contents made by the most expert in the world in each field, connected to some topics. And they dedicated a section to arts and culture. They made a brief description. They say why arts and culture are into our portal as a World Economic Forum. And there are some keywords like a number of issues in the realm of arts and culture now merit particularly close attention: heritage protection, cultural sustainability, the health of cultural and creative industries, the inclusiveness of cities, arts education, and the rights and freedoms of individual artists. Nothing too new to the ears of people that are involved in culture, but I invite you to look at that map. It's an interactive map. If you go on the site, on the website, and you click on each keyword that you see them, it redesigned completely, showing you all the possible connection. It's not just about that kind of issues, but it's go far beyond. So, culture, arts, in general, creativity is an economic factor, and we have to start to talk about it, being aware that associating, just putting together money and culture, value and culture, is not something that downgrade its value. Where's the playground? That's another question that is quite relevant about the place, okay? Phygital means digital and physical, so the two dimensions. You know, have you heard about something about metaverses in last months? Mark Zuckerberg, founder of Facebook, told the world we are working on the metaverse, a place where there are avatars, there are virtual relationships, there are many options and activities you can make, and there are products purchase options. So it's like, what else? It's not so new, if I think. There were something very similar in Second Life. It was 2006, I think. And Second Life exploded on all magazines because it's a virtual world where you can do, okay, it's not so innovative. You could ask, but does metaverse exist? Mark Zuckerberg say, no, it will take about 5 or 10 years to make the metaverse relevant. But I think that it exists. Which is the place where there are avatars, virtual relationships, many options and activities, and products and purchase options? Just try. It exists, more than one. Social media, for example. Social media, you can make it, and you can make it in both dimensions, physical and digital. And what else? Video games. Video games. Video gamification. There's a source, one of many sources devoted. 3 billion people are playing right now. It's not just a forecast. There are a lot of people involved in this kind of interaction, in this kind of activity. And it's evolving more and more. So, where are we playing the game? In physical, in digital, in metaverses, in something that exists yet, in something that has to be built? The answer is that probably, we don't know, because we are yet playing the game, and we have to see how to play it in the future. But you know, non-fungible tokens, it's another word that is very mainstream, that is very known by many people and used by anyone. Do you know what it means, non-fungible tokens? I think for the few people that doesn't know, is just a certificate of validity, of unicity, based on blockchain, and thanks to that, you can say that a digital object is unique, and it means that it's valuable. Just consider that the first subject who used the blockchain and to make unique digital objects was NBA, National Basketball Association, because they know there are a lot of people that love sports collectibles and memorabilia. So if I take a video of Steph Curry or LeBron James and I make it unique, it's valuable. I can sell it for a lot of money. And why am I switching from metaverse to NFT? What is the relation between metaverse and NFT? A lot of people say that metaverse is just a place where non-fungible tokens can become the currency. It's a marketplace, metaverse, because, okay, you can make a lot of things. On social media, you pay with your data, with your personal data. In video games, you pay with your money, buying, upgraded and stuff for your avatars. And non-fungible tokens are something that now allows anyone to get into the game. Let's see the milestones about the evolution of non-fungible tokens, okay? Anyone now is using non-fungible tokens in the hope of making some money, but there are some milestones. The first big one, Beeple, okay, digital artist, March 2021, $70 million for that masterpiece. I'm not judging the quality of the opera, but it gained $70 million, March 2021. The second one, evolution milestones. Top scorer, The Merge by Pac, another famous artist. Fragmented art. It was not just a work of art, but it fragmented it and it sold by pieces, collecting more than $90 million. More than $90 million for 28,000 more collectors, let's call it. I think it's more similar to, financial speculation. It's a betting that you're making. But he showed that it's possible also to make to propose it in a different way. It's fragmented, and it's similar to crowdfunding, to crowdsourcing, to a collective property of something. Third example, going phygital, human one, people, again. Now, the picture is not, does not represent the entirety of the opera, of the work of art, but consider that it's physical, a physical installation made by this cabin, and inside the cabin there's that moving figure as an animation that is made on a video. Just consider $28 million, and it's something physical that become also digital, because the physical part is sold as an NFT, and also the part of the video. So he was able to merge the two worlds. So also on NFT, digital and physical are meshing up. Another way the two worlds are meshing up, Scan the World. It's a wonderful project. A lot of museums from all over the world yet participate to it. It's an open platform. You can just scan a physical object, you add the file into this database, and everyone in every place of the world can print a 3D copy of the opera. It's quite interesting because it gives anyone the chance, the possibility to not to own but to replicate something all and all around. And it's interesting also because the price of all the printers, of the 3D printers, is going low and low. So it's something that anyone could have in his own house in a very small time. When are you going to meet people's interests? Now it's a little bit complex because time on digital is something that is so different from real life. There are different layers of time that you can consider. You know the long tail. Have you ever heard about this theory? In 2004, Chris Anderson, that was a real researcher, tried to define what was the added value of digital and of the web. He said there are a lot of people that are making a lot of interesting stuff, but they can't find an audience that is interested in buying something because they are located in far from the most relevant commercial marketplaces. So the web will allow them to reach their public, their audience. A lot of people will sell few things to their niche of public. So a complete matching of it. And it was quite interesting in explaining a part of the game that is also one of the most misleading, because the problem is the final user, is my time. My time, your time, is made by 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, nothing more. So you have to spend your time, you have to decide how to spend your time. It's completely true on the side of production. You can product everything, you can test everything, but it's not due, it's not said that you can sell it to anyone. Just consider that if I have to tell, there's a research that says that when I was a kid, now I'm 48 years old, when I was a kid, when I was young, the amount of data I was, of the inputs that I had to elaborate in one day was quantified in about 125 newspapers, okay, full of notice. That was the amount of data I had to manage, my brain had to manage. Now I've got a child, a wonderful kid of 9 years old, and his charge is to manage the data contained in 425 newspapers each day. So the time, it's essential. How can I meet him or her? Digital time is real time. Just think of it, real time, it happens now, and I can share in real time. It's quite simple to say it. It's eternity. Why? If it's documented on the web, it will never disappear. It will come back again and again. It's forever memory. And it's quite frightening, but it's something you have to deal with. Simultaneity. You can make more things at the same time, multitasking. especially if you sum up digital and physical. There are two dimensions that overlaps one another and merging together. Density. It makes everything so dense. It's one of many infographics that you can find on the web related to interesting things like how many things happens in 1 minute on the web, but it's just related to the most used platforms all around the world. But it gives you an idea of how dense is your time and how is difficult to find out the right moment to meet the person. Also because physical and digital are overlapping more and more. Why people should follow you? Which are the reasons? Why do you use social media? Please tell me. Because anyone else does. In general.
To stay updated.
To stay updated, to
connect.
Connected. Okay. There are a lot of researchers. I know I'm a fan of researchers in general because they write a very dense paper and with 5 lines I can work for 2 years. that make studies about cyber psychology. Cyber psychology is the effect that digital makes on our physical behavior. Okay, it's made of bias. It's made of every input that we elaborate and restitute to the world. And there are just 3 tips. You can reduce all the reasons why you use something in these 3. People will follow you for 3 kinds of reasons: rational, emotional, and reputational. Rational. Is there something useful for me? Can I get something? Can I get information? Can I get relationships? Can I get sex? Can I get food? Can I get money? Rational. Emotional. Cat. Okay? Cats in social media. Oh, toddlers and cats. Something that toddlers and cats, cats and toddlers. Also, toddlers that fall while they're playing with cats and so on. Oh, it's so cute. Oh, he's suffering. Reputational. Something that makes me more relevant in front of others. We look for interactions. We are counting likes. We are counting number of followers, of fun. It's not so easy. It's a very simple theme, but it's not easy because it implies. Now, I'm just trying to be very short in giving you an overview, but consider that there's cyber psychology that studies this kind of thing. One of the most prominent expert in the global scenario is Mary Aikin. Mary Aikin she's a psychologist that in 2016 started saying something that is very interesting. She said, we cannot use the usual time of research to tell what's happening to our kids with digital. Because she devoted her field of study in focusing about how kids are growing in a different way in contact with digital. And it's not, what she found out is it's frightening. And she says, if I wait for the normal time of 2 years of peer reviewing our articles, if I just try to respect my sense of time, I will not be able to describe what's going on now because it will change in months. So I have to take the responsibility to risk about some things, and I think that all researchers of all kind should follow this road. She became the expert for European Union about digital education of kids because she was the only one that said, okay, we have to change our framework. That is fundamental because we have no time. The time has got another sense, another meaning. About reputation, do you know how much is how valuable is the presence of a people online? Many people say, okay, Cristiano Ronaldo has got a lot of fans, so if he's a testimonial for a brand, he takes a lot of money. But do you know what does it mean to be an influencer for normal people? Just consider that the information that people you work with and something similar could cost you your a job position. And so the mixing up, the meeting of the two words another time is just colliding. How can you deal with phygital? Because it's quite simple to say, okay, phygital, it's an interesting way of looking at the world, but how can we deal? And here I just elaborated a framework by the documents and the principles and guidelines of European Union to evaluate cultural projects, okay? And they say that in digital fields, putting together all the documents, I found out that there are these fields that are crucial. There are the point of the meeting point of digital and culture for them, and it's about creation. Do you think that digital impacted creation about culture? I think it's quite easy, okay? We've got tools that we never imagined, they are for free, and we can use it anytime to test, and we can also implement these tools, because there are the open source one, so I can add my pieces and go on with testing. Production means also publishing. I can create, but I can also publish things. Just consider Amazon Kindle self-publishing, okay? I can write a book and I can publish it as an e-book, or with print on demand, phygital. I can send the file to a typography and they just print one copy or two copy or what I really need. Trade, commerce, you've got marketplaces open to anyone. You've got, you are a young designer, you've got Etsy, you've got social media, you can use Instagram to sell. There's a whole world where you can match the two dimensions. Preservation, about culture. Just to name one of the best practice, Google Arts and Culture. Google Arts and Culture, especially during pandemics, Google went to a lot of museums, told, okay, let's try to digitize your collection. But in the same in the same mobile app, you can find also a lot of tools. You can play with art and meshing up and knowing and acquiring knowledge and making things that are this. So there are also filters, and you can just record a video of you as the one I love the most, you as Van Gogh. Yeah, the self-portrait of Van Gogh, and you can move like the self-portrait of Van Gogh. Yeah, I'm a very serious person. Education. Two examples on a larger scale and on a very democratic scale. MIT Open Press. MIT, one of the most relevant body about research in all over the world, just open up their courses and their library, letting you read a lot of books for free. And it's quite precious. And also tutorials. Just consider that on YouTube there are a lot of people that are exchanging ideas, knowledge, tips about everything. So it's probably one of the most relevant source of information for anyone. And it's also one, the one more polite in everyday management. You know, in Britain they are just trying to measure it. What was the most virtuous social media, and they found out that YouTube, that is very open, and it gives you a piece of something that is not just a frame, it's not just an image, like Instagram allows you to keep in contact with who is creating a content and give you the space also to mature a sort of connection with that subject in a whole different way. There is a sort of bridge between physical and digital. Regulation. The example I love the most of all, it's, you know that the French government make you pay if you take photos to the Tour Eiffel? In 2017 they had this wonderful idea. Tour Eiffel, it's mine. If you want to take a picture of the photo, you have to pay me. Try to catch me, is the answer. So they thought, okay, it's not easy because there were what's public art, what's public property about art. So they made, they had the genius idea, okay, the main one. You know that every hour in the evening, on the Tour Eiffel, some lights, the tower enlightens with a sort of show, light show that is quite, not quite sophisticated. But they say that's an art performance. So if you take a photo while the performance is on, you can be sued and you have to pay for it. That's a way of how phygital is affecting in general the hard issue of regulation, and it's not easy to make it. It's too fast. The best practice to mesh together all the different dimensions is a project I'm working on right now. I work for a private bank that is very interested in discovering what culture can generate as a perception of value in people. So they are very attentive about these issues, and we sponsored the Premio Federico Maggia, that is a biennial award of contest of architecture for young architects that has to work on a territory, the one of Biella, a city in the northern of Italy, to regenerate urban places using the principle of sustainability. And we wanted to add something. We say, okay, but sustainability means also that culture should be funded and can be funded. So we created a civic crowdfunding toolkit that we are going to release in many languages very soon for all people that are going to finance their own project in a civic field. And there are some texts about it, but we choose the way to publish it split into sections where you can find the answers, the questions. That is made, it's a sort of checklist. Because I know that as a form of interaction, if I say you what to do, you will not listen to me. But if I ask you what's your idea about something, you will be more immersed in the speech and in the direction I'm going to move. The base of this, the inspiration of this project is the new European Bauhaus, that it's the first attempt of codification of a new set of principles like guiding placemaking using also digital. And it refers to enriching culturally. It's sustainable, a place that is enriching in a cultural sense, so something that gives you an added value in a symbolic way and something similar, sustainable as environmentally sustainable, and inclusive, that is open to anyone. So it was just a very fast depiction of a very complex theme, but I think that now I spent the last 2 years working with the wonderful team of Faro 2027, and I have to say really thank you to what the city and the people of the city are doing for culture and for what culture can become for the society. And I know that this could be one place, and I say it with intention and with the right awareness of what's going on, could be one place where this could be real. And I just would like to conclude with one word to ruin everything. If you had some positive advice about what I say, phygital Algarve. I really hope that you give your wonderful contribution to discover how going phygital would it be possible. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'll go to the third one. We're going to go.
Let's try another. Let's go for phygital.
This one? Okay. Well, thank you very much, Claudio. Well, yeah, we covered a lot of terrain, and lots of questions have sprung up, and basically also starting off, we were running a bit late, so it really didn't go into the presentation. So I'm going to launch 2 questions.
one at a time to both of our guests, and then we'll open up to the floor. Obviously, there will be some more questions. But yeah, doing what I didn't do previously, the presentation. So first I'll speak with Miguel Castanet. He's most already aware. He's an illustrious academic within the field. And he's also a very strong evangelist for the smart city context within Portugal. And so if we're really going to have a smart city-based country, he's the man. So basically, I'd make one question. The first question is in regards to all this terrain that we've covered with what digital has brought. In your opinion, what are the two major opportunities that digital presents itself to the culture as we perceive it being like the economical field, and also and not only. What are the two major opportunities in your understanding?
Thank you very much, George. Good afternoon to everyone. But thank you for the presentation. It's quite inspireful. And regarding two opportunities, and also fed by what you have presented and the challenges as, I think there's one that is also, and now I make the connection with you, the example that what Google has done with the museums. So in fact, taking advantage of this phygital, we can deliver or increase hugely the reach of any culture or aspect of our reality. And I think that is a huge opportunity because what happens, in my opinion, is that we live in a world where we tend to have only big players. So only what captures the major audiences will survive, and they are the ones who are going to be able to capture the resources. Once we take advantage of this phygital, everyone can have the opportunity also to be present in the same space, taking advantage of the digital possibilities. And another dimension that I would call into this context is the possibilities, the new possibilities. You just presented in the beginning how we can now use generative AI to produce texts or to produce art or whatever. We are still far from really understanding where this can lead us. And this, in my opinion, has another characteristic that is really, really interesting, because it's not only the fact that we have new possibilities, but the fact that everyone can have access to those possibilities. So, and this democratization that this phygital, digital Algarve brings us is also democratizing what can be done. Because in fact, the technology now is available for almost everyone, and it's not complex. So for me, one of the most amazing things that we see happening is that anyone can go online and find a tool that very easily can give us an opportunity to be creative. But now I have a different position from you regarding what you said about people will follow you for. Because and from MIT, there is this Thomas Malone that he has also 3 drivers. But I think in the end they will fit in yours. The first one is that people will do things for love. So I think that's the emotional. Yeah. The second is they will do things for glory. That one I don't know. Reputational. And the last one is they do things for money. So it will be rational. And Thomas Malone applies this in the context of knowledge management, meaning that people are willing to contribute, to share, if they find one of these drivers. So they will be able to contribute, like in Wikipedia, because they will find one of these drivers And also regarding to art and culture, creativity, one of the examples that I enjoyed the most when I was studying that subject was that new ways of organizing businesses. And one of the examples was a company that sold T-shirts, and the designs of the T-shirts was a weekly auction, and every week the community voted on the best designs, and the best designs were the ones that were printed. There was a catch there, because only those were paid. But nevertheless, the company was a success. That's all for now.
Thank you. Okay, I guess now my mic's working. Thank you very much, Professor. I'll now present Nelson Luciano. He's the digital natives responsible for Google Portugal. And same question to you. In your understanding, what do you see are the two major opportunities that present themselves for that digital present to culture?
So first, thank you for having me here. Super glad to be here. And let me first say that I'm not a culture expert, for sure, but I'm a heavy culture user, being close to culture from all my life. I'm mainly inspired by my parents, I think. They are both teachers, but related with culture, trying to preserve the culture. So I had these two things in my life, like culture and the preservation of our roots, and also technology from the last 20 years. And so I think one of the things, and we will agree, it's amazing that we will agree in so much things. So I see that one of the things that we need to tackle better and to do better is preservation, like you said. And Google has a very great project, Google Arts. There's a website and an app. It does amazing things. My favorite is, and because I'm also trying to be a musician, and if there are musicians there, if you put the melody, it can harmonize it like a Bach or Mozart, so it's super amazing stuff. And I think we need to do more there on the preservation side. And from the big tech companies, I feel that we all have the responsibility to engage better with local communities, with local institutions, with the schools, and provide them the technology to really able to index our world and our culture, so that culture is what makes us humans, I think, and what makes humankind so amazing. But also it can give us a sense of freedom and things that go wrong or go right. So we need to do much more things from a big tech perspective to get into these local communities and try to map and give you the tools to do that. And also we need to do it in an open way. And that's I would say the most difficult thing, because the technology already exists to index and the paints and arts and customs of the society. Putting that in an open format so that everyone is able to use it, that's the difficult thing. And we need to do that. We need to find a way to map all those things and put it in a way that everyone can access it. And that's more on the preservation side, I would say. And there's also the creation side, like Miguel was saying. I think there's a lot of possibilities there. Metaverse is still a very new thing. There are amazing projects there, especially in the gaming area, like someone said. Roblox or Minecraft are very good examples of metaverse usage and with very good results. But still, there are many things to tackle in the creation side. I would say security, identity is something super critical to do. But the main one for me is interoperability and accessibility, like Miguel was saying. That probably is the one that we need to tackle better. This creation needs to be accessible for everyone. And I like to give the example, like if we think about the metaverse, and the metaverse is like creating a world, like Earth. So if you get out at your home here or in Paris or in Japan, you have air, you have a monetary system, you have rules. And so, and it's more or less, with many problems, we know, but it's more or less equal to everyone. And so everyone knows what it has. It has hair, it has food, you have money, system, so you can use it. On the metaverse side, we are not still there. We need to create this system that is open to everyone, and we still need to find that. And I still think we need to do a lot of things there.
Thank you, Nelson. Now flipping the question the other way around, like we're looking from the digital into culture. Let's look at how can culture pitch into the digital world. So, what is it? Yeah, maybe you can. Yeah, you got the mic the other way around
Sure.
now. Basically, like in your understanding, which do you see could be the major opportunities that culture can bring into the scene to enrich digital and basically take to because like everyone's a bit cautious of the way digital is being done. Like, is that a way can culture pitch in?
It's a super hard question. So I was saying my family is super connected to culture, and it's a huge topic in our Christmas conversations about technology and culture, and we have a lot of discussions with this, because there's a kind of a feeling that the digital will harm in some way culture and the reality, and I think we need to find again ways to talk more about that without that trying to put that away, that conversation, because we can create a lot of things in the digital world that are super amazing and super accessible, and I think that's one of the points, and we need to bring more and more culture to the physical world, and I think the way we do that is, like I was saying in the first question, is to engage with the local communities, is embracing, coming here to Faro and know the people and know their creations and helping them put their creations in the physical world, in the digital world, sorry. And I think that's the way to do it. We need to be more close to the communities, to the persons that are creating, and not try the massification way that we are used to do.
Okay, thank you. Miguel, tell me in your understanding also, which do you see are major opportunities that the two major opportunities that culture can present to this digital wave that's sweeping us away?
Thank you. Now I'll do the personal sharing part, because it's not my parents, but culture and digital, they are impacting my life quite in a very impressive way. Last summer, I was thinking that I had a daughter that was going to be a medic. She was in the 3rd year of medical school, and a son that was going just passed to the last year before going to the university to study computer science. And in one day, my daughter told me, I'm going to apply to the New York Film Academy, and I'm going to change what I'm doing. And she got a scholarship, and now she's in New York. And my son took the opportunity to tell me that I want to work in digital arts, but not in computer science. So I want to go to arts, and then I shall see what happens. And so digital and culture are also impacting my life. And hopefully this will turn out okay, and I will not have to work more years than I expected when I had a doctor and an engineer. But we shall see. Having said that, and going back to the question, one of the things that, as George said, I try to work to do research and innovation in the field of smart cities. And one of the things that I see happening is that we are all trying to do the same in every city, trying to use technology to improve the efficiency of the city, to better manage services and infrastructure, to provide better quality of life to the people that lives, works, or visits the cities. So this is the pitch, always, in my presentation. But in the end of the day, what I see as an opportunity for cities, for any place, to be really smart and sustainable, is to try to identify its real identity and its culture, and trying to make that an asset in being smart and sustainable, and also to use the digitalization to preserve that culture and identity and make that available now at a global scale. And that can attract also development to those locations. And one of the very, for me, important aspects that, or opportunity that this creates, and now I'm going to speak about Lisbon and not about Faro because I don't know if it applies the same. There was a huge discussion in Lisbon about tourism overload, which is an urban myth because certain parts of Lisbon, in certain moments in time, have a problem of tourism overload. If we take advantage of the digitalization on our cultural assets in Lisbon, we could improve the city planning in management, in tourism, taking advantage of technology. Because I could provide information about attractions. I could even do better because I could know, I don't know, if there is any artist that now is in his space creating something, I could give an opportunity to people to go there and see them working. So I see a huge space of opportunity for culture in this digital world, and which can in fact play a very important role in assuring the sustainability of our culture over time. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Claudio, did I miss any major question for these two that you'd like to?
Yeah, in general, I'd like to know, also because you come from two different fields. I start from the academics, okay, because I'm a huge fan of research, as I've said. Speaking about, in general, placemaking, okay, augmented places, well, could you give us the idea of what, because there's a misuse of a lot of words. In your technical and sensitive way of seeing things, what does it mean an augmented places right now? What does it mean augmented? Not just for about technology, but about the people's sensibility for what you see each day, because you are designing, you think about the design of a new interaction of people with places. So I'm really interested in this kind of...
Can you?
Okay, here.
Okay. Okay. There are now. It's a tricky question. Okay. So first of all, what we are seeing now is that we look into augmenting reality through how can I explore the reality and overlay on top of the physical world digital information, taking advantage of augmented reality. That is the answer within the box. What I think about augmenting the experience would be, in my opinion, to try to bring to that space ways to preserve our history and our culture. Typically what we see is that if we go to some place, there are the opportunity to have QR codes that show us with augmented reality what is this monument. Like the examples that we said. In my opinion, would be much more interesting to have people, locals, telling us the story of them, of the shops, of the life that they had. An approach much more ethnographic than just telling the story. This was a castle, and okay, but what I now want to know is that, and also the experiences, be able to have access to experiences. And so, this for me is also challenging, because I hope that we will never be able to digitalize everything. And so we will need the physical interaction with the reality. Of course, I don't know what is going to happen. I'm really curious about the metaverse, because in fact, Second Life failed. We now say, no, the technology was not ready at the moment. But I'm afraid that that is a very good excuse to push technology and to push new investments, because in the end, I don't believe it was the technology. So I think it's in fact the social interaction, and this balance between the use of technology or augmented reality and the physical world is, for me, what is the most challenging part on bringing everything together.
And now I'd like to make a question about augmented creativity, because you told something that was very interesting to me about your experience as a user. Okay, you said about Google Culture, there's a wonderful part of the app, and it was something sparkling in his eyes, that I love music and it let you play with harmonization, and I find it very interesting because it's your personal moment, and I think that all the matter, all the debate about phygital is going to switch and to turn into personal relationships with each other and technology. I would like to ask, what is about augmented creativity in your sensibility, in your perception?
Yeah, great question. That's a very good example. I think augmented creativity, it can give us two big things. One is it could be more easy to create, and especially because it could be more easy to learn. It's you can learn in different ways. So in this example, again, it's more or less it's a different way to learn melody and harmonization when compared to the traditional ways. So I think augmented reality, and you have a lot of very good projects there, most of them digital, not phygital, that have teaches that. So the digital, if there is one thing that the digital is, I think, is amazing, is on the education, and gives us different way of educate people, literacy, and etc. And that's, I think, something that it will, for sure, help. So better access, accelerate the education, and with that, you can learn more skills more fast. So it's more easy to learn music and art and painting in the digital world, I think. The other one is that you can mix a lot of things. you can, and that's something that is more or less impossible in the physical world. So you can bring paints, you can bring sounds, you can bring a lot of sensors and senses from everywhere, and you can mix them in the digital world. That's something that in the physical world, because of our way to interact, it's more difficult. And so I think that's for me the two main things. One is the access and the speed of learning and having more skills, and mixing a lot of things that we cannot do it in the world.
Can I make another question? Just stolen the mic is wonderful. Yeah, it's it's quite better than making questions than answer. A question for you, first of all, but after that I'd like also to go deeper into what you were talking about. Education is empowerment, is making someone able to become something. And a thing that scares me a lot is that the cultural stakeholders, cultural world very often says that if it's too easy, it doesn't make much sense. It's not so valuable, because we used to measure the value of something with the quantity of effort we make to do something. And it's something I do not agree with in general, but I'd really like to know your position about it as a practitioner and as an academic.
I really don't know if I know the answer for that question, okay? I know that in our subconscious, if something is expensive, it's good. So this is something that we have as we are biased with that idea. But I think that is changing, okay? So I think that probably my generation have that mindset, but I don't see that mindset in my kids. So I think that is something that is changing. But regarding to access, and making a link to something that Nelson said about the need to promote open access to whatever. So if I want to know something, if I need some resource that I can use in order to create new products and services, we should make a much bigger effort to make those resources available once we are in the digital world. Because in fact, they are, I don't know, one example of renewable resources, because we cannot, if they are not NFTs, we are not going to wear them down. So they will not disappear by the usage. But once we start to think about that, and this was, I don't know if I will have the opportunity to make another intervention, something that at the same time concerns me regarding what we are speaking here about, is that we are defending, and I'm doing the same, about the opportunity of creating digital artifacts or digital information that will be available to everyone, or culture, or that will preserve the identity. But if we think a little bit, we have today a problem with our memory. Why? If you think, I don't know if this applies to everyone that is in this room or that is watching this. If you think about the emails that you have written and that we have received over time, are you able to go back there to the first emails that you sent and received? Are you able to go back to all the digital pictures that you have taken? Or the documents that you have written? Okay. And we have moved into this digital world, and today it's impossible to do something as simple as to write a book with the correspondence that was exchanged by two people in the past. And we could do that in the past, and today we cannot do that anymore. Because we digitalize everything, and we lost the capability of going back in time, because the technology evolved, we lost the disks where the information was, and we lost that capability. Unless, and I think we already referred that, if it is in the internet, it will be there forever, as Will Smith recently discovered. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, it's a great question again. I don't have an answer for that, because that's one of the things that bothers me a lot. If you like humankind, and if you are curious about humankind, you want to learn a lot of things. So if you like technology, you will learn technology. If you like music, you will learn music. And if you like astronomy, you can learn astronomy. And if you like furniture, and I had an example 2 months ago in my home. My brother, that in fact was also to be a doctor and just moved to culture. So same thing.
It's okay.
It's okay. It's okay. Oh, more or less. But he brought a friend from Sweden, and she was telling me that, look, I was studying medicine also, but I started to like building furniture for my house. The videos in YouTube, started to building furniture. She built a brand. She started selling, and after that, she went to study furniture in Sweden. And so it's a different kind of path, you know? You first kind of learn, because it's an inverted cycle, because the information is there for you to use. And then if you want to specialize that, you can go to specialized college and learn. And that's, I think it's a little, yes, new paths for culture and knowledge, yes.
Well, thank you. Maybe I'll open the questions to the floor. I'll add my pitch there. I think like mastery is something that will be definitely needed, and it is. Matter of fact, like a piece of furniture, it will be valuable if it's something that's different. But anyhow, well, let's see. Whomever has a question to add to the. Okay, Isadora.
Okay, I don't know if it's a question or more a provocative thing. So it's amazing because we are here talking about technology, but really most of the talk that we have after Claudio's presentation. See, I know your name. It was about people and about identity and about culture and about communities. And all of your discussion was around this. And Faro, and I was already in touch with process of smart cities, and maybe this is a question or for you. And Faro is in the process of smart cities. But at this point, should we advance with the concept of cultural smart cities instead of just smart cities? Because if we make cultural smart cities, people will get involved since the beginning, and they will find that they are part of the process, and they are not just gaining for the technology improvement that will be in the city. So I think that we are also making more sustainable cities, but also more resilient cities. So I don't know if this is or could be a shift and an improvement shift for implementing smart cities.
Okay, thank you very much for the question. I think it's not a shift. I think the question is the concept of smart cities has been captured by the technological approach. That's the market doing his job, right? Because in fact, for instance, there is an European prize for the smart tourism capital in Europe. And one of the attributes, of course, there is the technology, the digitalization, the accessibility, but there is one which is the cultural sustainability of the process. If they are able not to lose their identity and the culture. And when we think today about smart, sustainable cities, of course, we try to use the best technology available to have a very efficient city. But in my opinion, the objective is like to make that part of the city invisible. So we should not be concerned if the bus is going to arrive on time. If I go to a bike station of the sharing system, there is a bike there. If the waste is collected in time. If the streets are clean or the lights are working. That should become invisible because we are being smart in that management and the planning of the city. And our focus should be on how can we take advantage of the public space for people to use it, of having green infrastructures, of involving the community in the city that we have. And we see several examples today on how municipalities are giving the power to the boroughs or to the parishes to be part of the planning of the city and building the city together. And one of the, I don't know if you share that opinion, but one of the things, and I was visiting a parish this morning in Lisbon, a communitary farm, and one of the things that was shared there is that during the pandemic, the number of Portuguese people that got involved in that community increased during the pandemic. So the idea that we connect more in our surroundings is changing also, and I think that is the real secret of the smart city, is the community. It's the local culture. Thank you.
Okay, so yeah, we're pretty much meeting our deadline. Anyhow, we will be hanging around. The program is going to continue after now. We're going to have the networking session. Also, I'll invite everyone to look at the program, the whole set of events taking place within the large context of the Algarve Tech Hub Summit. So I'd really like to thank very much these valuable presentations and contributions to this discussion. And I'd ask for a round of applause for our guests, please.